Okay, so the Doom posting topic for Honkai Star Rail is actually annoying. I'm gonna say like, okay, listen, bro, old EO is coming out real quick. All right, this topic is dumb as F word. I can't say that because YouTube's new rules, right, stipulations, but this particular topic is actually dumb in my opinion. But my opinion is fact here because none of this should be going on. All right, I know we know the MTash clip that went around with him criticizing Honkai Star Rail, and in that particular regard, it's not really criticism. I also have no issue with MTash. I want to throw that out there, but what he was doing in the clip isn't constructive criticism. Some things in another clip were constructive criticism. If I'm not mistaken, he was saying something about how the layout of the UI is similar to Genshin's and therefore they should progress in a similar manner, which I'm not gonna say there's no way for him to have known that at that time, but whatever. Point being is that in the event we make Honkai Star Rail what Genshin players want, we are literally just making another Genshin Impact, which isn't MiHoYo's goal here. Now, the problem that I have with so many people taking that clip and then spreading it out of context or using it out of context, and then also saying that everyone else is also Doom posting, makes how do I put it? It makes it a similar issue to Tower of Fantasy prior to Tower of Fantasy going through its downward spiral, quote unquote, when it comes to popularity or content. And in that regard, it's mostly that, hey, we have constructive criticism about the game. This is what we feel. This is what we think. Let's talk about it. Open discussion, whatever. And then people don't like that, right? I've noticed that in the gacha community is that they don't like constructive criticism that is not outwardly or overtly positive. If it's not overtly positive, they are not a fan of whatever it is you're talking about. Now, obviously, this is not every gacha person in the community or every, you know, person that consumes the content. It's just a large majority, or I should say a large majority of the vocal, right? If the vocal minority exists, then most of the people being vocal are whatever. You get what I'm saying. So going with that, you have a lot of clips that get pulled out of main topic videos and then pulled out of context. You have tweets, you have Reddit posts, you have Discord posts, and you otherwise have genuine people asking these questions. Now, I don't think all of them are genuine, but I have seen enough of them to understand that there are people interested in Star Rail, but they genuinely don't have an answer to whatever that question is that they're asking. So you have people that are like, oh, I've seen Star Rail. It looks just like Genshin, but turn-based. Is that true? And they get flamed, or, you know, they get made fun of, whatever. And it's like, you didn't answer that guy's question. I mean, sure, somebody might have eventually, but if you answer this person's question, it might make things a little bit easier because they're showing some interest in the game. You move forward from that and you start getting these threads of people, quote unquote, Doom posting Star Rail, and the usual thing that they're saying is that, oh, well, it looks like Genshin, but it's not Genshin, or this is just turn-based Genshin, so it's ass and it's gonna do bad, because everybody knows that turn-based games are bad now and they always do bad. I don't know what planet y'all live on where turn-based games do bad, but that's just not the case at all. Every turn-based game that I can think of now in this current era has done or has been successful for whatever that company's goal was. Even Octopath Traveler has been successful enough to make a 2, like a game that I'm not a big fan of Octopath because of the grindy absurd stuff after a certain point, but the game itself I like, and it was successful enough to make a 2. I Am Setsuna, it's kind of like Chrono Trigger in a bit. I think it's called an active turn-based. I don't remember the actual term for it, but I Am Setsuna was successful enough to make a number 2. Persona 5 is Persona. I don't have to keep mentioning Persona because that's kind of like the baby at this point, but Genshin Impact is an anomaly. The fact that we compare everything to Genshin Impact when it comes to a gacha game, especially when it looks good, is a problem. Now, MiHoYo is the parent company of all of these games, right? Genshin, Honkai Impact, and Honkai Star Rail. It's okay to compare these games. It's totally okay to look at them and be like, hey, what's the difference between this and that? What makes this game different? Why would I invest my time into this game versus any other game? Okay, should I spend money in this game? Is this game free to play friendly? Do I need to spend money in this game? How are the characters? What's the level up system like? There's so many questions that come into play when you're learning about a new game that you could be interested in, but maybe you're not interested in. Now you get into the difference between doom posting and constructive criticism. And now we have a problem, right? Now this is where the line gets blurry. Most people, I'll use that term, don't understand what constructive criticism is, and they label it as doom posting. Just because something is negative does not mean that it's doom posting. Just because something isn't what you want to hear doesn't mean that it's doom posting. Doom posting does not equal, oh, okay, cool, let's talk about this thing that could potentially be a problem for Honkai Star Rail and maybe get it resolved prior to its release, or maybe get it solved after release. Nah, bro, this is doom posting. You should only talk about the positive. We don't want to hear nothing about anything negative whatsoever. We know this is a problem, but we just pretend it doesn't exist. That's what a lot of y'all do. And it's not even just Star Rail. I think this is just gacha people in general. Coming into whatever doom post we have for the game, I feel like if we all took a step back and we reassessed whatever was going on, maybe look at the question a little bit differently, you can kind of tell what's being trolled, right? Like a troll, you can tell a troll, a meme, whatever, versus something that's actually serious. The doom posting that I have seen, it really just comes from one source. I'm not gonna lie to you, and it is quite literally the Genshin side. I'll say that, right? Honkai, you know what? Okay, I take that back. I've seen it from both sides. Not as much from Honkai, but I have seen it from both sides, and I'll elaborate. I've seen it from Honkai's side because they want a continuation of their story or whatever they're doing. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if they're going into a second part of the story, so it's continuing, or if this was like the chapter 36 or chapter 38, whatever it was, is the final chapter of Honkai Impact, and they're done with the story now. Like, it's a complete story, it's done. I don't know if that's the case, or if they're just done with this part of the story and they're gonna work on a completely different part. But from what I've seen from people that do actively play Honkai, they've been following it since almost day one or however long they need to, they want a continuation. So having Star Rail be something that's closer to Genshin in terms of the play style, quote unquote, versus Honkai, they don't like. Meanwhile, the Genshin side of people, they also don't like the game because it's closer to not Genshin, right? It's all turn-based. None of this is closer to either game. You can't say the Star Rail is closer to Genshin or closer to Impact when it comes to the gameplay, because it's completely different. It's a completely different genre of gaming. So both of them are valid in understanding that it's not, you know, what their previous game was. Neither of them are valid when it comes to why they're complaining about it. Oh, it's gonna fail because it's turn-based. Who told you that, right? Like, where did you get that from? And now it'd be different if they're like, oh, it's gonna fail because it has the same pity system as Genshin Impact, and for a game like this to have so much importance on characters, regardless of that being 5-star or 4-star, it'll be problematic. That could be something that could be seen as constructive criticism. You could look at it that way and be like, oh, you know what? Maybe you're right. Let's talk about it, right? Let's break this down and see why that might be an issue. Versus, oh yeah, no, this game is just gonna fail, bro. Like, I don't know why they just didn't make Genshin Impact 2. They could have just made Honkai Star Rail, but Genshin Impact, and then it would have just been Genshin Impact 2.5 or something, right? But just a different title. That's what people want. That's dumb. I'm just gonna throw that out there. That whole side of things is dumb. There's no doom posting going on. It's a lot of constructive criticism that's being overshadowed by people not wanting to actually, you know, kind of check the game. The game does have some issues, I'm not gonna lie, but coming from someone who's played this game every other day, I try to play it every day, but I'm not gonna make up any excuses for that. Just know that I played a lot since the beta. The game has some issues. These issues are not anywhere near deterrent enough for me to turn the game away. Like, I could 100% recommend Star Rail for someone who doesn't want to spend money and someone that wants to spend money, right? Versus any other game that I've put my hands on where I can or cannot recommend it for any given reason. Star Rail is the one game that I've played gacha wise that, well, not the one, it's one of the 3 that I've played gacha wise that I could recommend and be like, you know what, you could play this game, you can enjoy it, and you can go with the flow. It's fine. You don't have any issues whatsoever. It's a good game, right? If they released this game right now from what we have in the beta, my only major complaint on the top of my head right now is the amount of star jade they give. That's it. Everything else about the game I could relatively get over if the amount of star jade they gave was increased. If it was increased a little bit more, maybe if the events gave double what they give now, or if there was an event every couple of weeks, whatever. Point being is that if there was more star jade given, then I could say, you know what, perfect game. And, you know, we just ride with that. But as of right now, that is quite literally my only complaint that I can think of is I would want more of the premium currency to be given out or have more efficient ways to farm the premium currency that is not time gated. My bad. It's called Stellar Jade because Moon just has to, you know, put herself in everything. Anyway, the Star Jade, as I said, was, you know, the premium currency. Now, regardless of me being interrupted for that, that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about this entire scenario. I'm tired of the term doom posting as a whole. I think I've grown a strong disdain for that word because so many people on the internet use this term as a cop-out. Like you know how when you learn a new word, so you keep using it and it gets to a point where you're using it completely out of definition. That's how I feel about doom posting. A lot of people just throw this term around because they don't like what's being said, and that's not what doom posting is. And again, I do think that there have been some doom posts. I don't think there's been so many doom posts about Star Rail in particular that are just completely, you know, like a 7-3 matchup. Doom post versus no doom post. I don't think it's been that way at all, but whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Smell you later.